Hello everybody, this is Double RPG here, and welcome to another episode of Double RPG Let's Play with Kingdom Hearts on the PlayStation 2. In today's episode, we are going to go here to Neverland, which is after Agrabah, in terms of the optional boss fights that we're doing. And we're going to fight off against the last optional boss, and then we're going to go back to Traverse Town, to where I'm going to show you the remaining summons in the game, as well as do some magic practice, as well as me giving you my full honest thoughts about what I think about this game. In terms of doing the Let's Play and all. But, yeah, it'll be my full honest thoughts with that, so expect to hear me do a lot of talking today. So, yes, let's get on with this episode that's already in progress, shall we? And as you can tell, I'm pretty much setting everybody up with some Mega Elixirs and Elixirs, so that way they can have something to instantaneously heal themselves with when we go up against this optional boss. So, yeah, it's going to be quite a doozy. So, anyway, we got everybody taken care of, so let's go ahead and save right here. And after we save, we also need to customize. Well, we need to set our main abilities, and then we are going to customize the what do you call them? We're going to customize the shortcuts for the magic, because we need to have Stopra in the the magic shortcuts or whatever, so that way we can utilize it in this upcoming optional boss fight, and you shall see why. Okay, so we just talked to Tinkerbell, and now we're going to fly to the clock tower in London. Well, basically that's where it is in the movie, but in this game they just actually refer to it as the clock tower. But yes, we are going to go to the clock tower, and while we're flying over there, there's a big guy in a trench coat. And he is guarding the clock tower. Yep, this is the next Heartless boss we're fighting against, and this is Phantom. And as you can tell, this guy is an Emblem Heartless, and he is actually probably one of the most toughest optional bosses that this game has to offer. Basically, the reason is that he has this orb inside of him that can that can determine whether if you need to attack him with magic or physical attacks. But not only that, there is this clock in the middle of nowhere. There's this clock at the clock tower that will keep turning itself to make sure that your party members get insta-kill after the time runs out. So yeah, it's kind of a race against, from having the clock trying to defeat you with whoever has the time limit set to death on them. So yeah, two hazards in this boss fight. This orb to determine whether you can attack Phantom magically or physically, and the other is the clock, which can set instant death towards your first two party members, and then to Sora if you do not even stop the clock with stop magic or time magic. So yeah, it's going to be quite tough. But with the patterns of the, with the orbs that are surrounded, that is located underneath the Phantom's cloak, the white one represents physical attacks, while the yellow one represents thunder magic, the blue one represents blizzard magic, and the red one represents fire magic. And you have to hit the orb with the respective magic type that it's asking you to try to hit it with. And you have to do this 3 times to, get a lot of damage in for this boss. And after you do 2 rounds of it, he will head back over by the clock, and he will try to, do massive damage onto you. Now, there will be points where Peter Pan will summon Eroga on you, so that way you don't take a whole lot of damage. So at least consider that as a saving grace for right now, and, not to have it distract you from, fighting off against this boss for the rest of this time. But yes, just pay attention to what is all going on, and you should be fine against it. Now, every time when you take care of Phantom, 2 rounds of trying to hit the orb underneath its cloak, he will run back over to the clock, like I mentioned. And when he does that, be sure you go over by the clock and use Stopper on it, so that way that the clock can remain, standing still at where it is. And trust me, it makes the difference. If you just keep using the stop magic on it, then you should be fine. And also, be sure you use your elixirs and mega elixirs sparingly. And don't, overuse them too much. Which I don't think that's going to be the case, since we have a whole lot of elixirs and mega elixirs to help us out in this boss fight. But yes, just, you know, just use those to your best discretion whenever necessary, and you should be fine. But for the most part, this boss fight isn't too bad, unless if you know, if you manage to pay attention to what's all going on, then you should be okay. But, you know, for my case, it's pretty much going okay, as, you know, it's turning out to be just fine. And I think we already taken down over half of Phantom's hit points. And as you can tell from the boss data poster that I showed you, Phantom has 1,200 hit points. Not the, you know, not a whole lot, and about 600 points short from having the highest hit point range, which is 1,800. I don't think I've ever seen any other boss that goes beyond 1,800 in terms of the hit points. And as you can tell, Destiny's Force is actually playing in the background, the music for this boss fight, and we haven't even heard it for quite a while. It usually plays this music whenever we fight against Darkseid. Well, sometimes in some Heartless bosses, but in this case, yeah, we're actually hearing it again. And we're getting close to getting 300 hit points down with this enemy. Yeah, and sometimes, you know, the magic can have a significant effect, you know, with attacking Phantom. And I gotta mention that the Final Mix version of Kingdom Hearts, it also has Phantom, you know, in a very different color scheme as well. I think he's more of a white trench coat, and there's some black trim on it, where in this game it's just fully, you know, like this aqua trim of some kind, or this cyan trim. You know, this dark blue cyan trim of some sort. But yeah, another enemy who has a different color palette for different versions. So it's very interesting. And as you can tell, you know, with this boss fight, we can actually fly in the sky. So it's, you know, it's pretty good to fly in the sky once again, so that way, you know, we have something to fight against that can actually fly in the sky itself. Okay, we're using fire magic, and then when it, like I said, when it turns white, that's when you want to do physical attacks on it. Or if you have Peter Pan doing that one ability where he kind of pushes himself forward while striking rapidly with his knife, then that will do a lot of damage too. Okay, let's go ahead and stop this clock one more time, and then let's take care of the final boss. I mean, let's take care of this boss once and for all. And it shouldn't be that big of a problem. Very good. Looks like Sora and Peter Pan only managed to level up that time, but other than that, we have taken care of the last optional boss in this game. So we pretty much completed all of these side quests in this game that, you know, that it had to offer. So my overall thoughts on the side questing could have been better, but, you know, wasn't too bad. And with Phantom defeated, we have unleashed that heart from that Heartless. And believe it or not, with this optional boss defeated, we actually do get the strongest time magic. Stopra has been upgraded to Stopka. And it kind of comes in too late into the game, you know, to where you could possibly use, you know, Stopka for anything, but I'm pretty sure that there is still a use for it. Now, let's go ahead and check out that Anson Report that I didn't show you from before, which is Anson Report 8. There is no doubt that the Heartless are deeply connected to people's hearts. Further study may unravel both their motivations and the mystery shrouding the heart. As a start, I have built a device that artificially creates Heartless. By recreating the conditions that spawn the Heartless naturally, I should be able to produce them artificially. This device is the culmination of all my research thus far. The machine's test run successfully created a Heartless. This may be a step toward creating a heart from nothing. The artificially and naturally created Heartless show nearly identical traits, but the two types should remain distinct for the purposes of this experiment, so I will mark the ones that I created artificially. Ah, yes, and this is the explanation about how Ansem managed to create the emblem Heartless, while the Purebloods are naturally created from their own kind, or whatever. But anyway, here we are back at the Magician Study, like I said that we would be coming back to. And we need to talk to the Fairy Godmother one more time, because we have the Fire Glow Stone that we got from, you know, Hollow Bastion, and we need to unleash the summon that's within it. And after doing that, we can summon Mushu. Yes, Mushu from Mulan. And Donald obtained Lord Fortune, which is a new staff that he can equip for himself after we obtained all the summons. And Merlin is pretty impressed with our impressed with our progress as well. And we get a dream rod from him, so that's 2 new staves for Donald. But they don't really matter because, we have Donald's ultimate weapon in this game. Alright guys, I'm going to be showing you the remaining the remaining summons, as well as do some practice magic. And while I'm taking care of this whole deal of what's going on, I'm going to deliver to you my full, honest thoughts about what I think about Kingdom Hearts and say whether or not if the game has aged well so far. And since we're already in the year 2012 already, and it is getting close to this series' 10th anniversary, I might as well deliver to you my own thoughts. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts, what do I think of it? Well, I definitely think it was a great new beginning of a new franchise for Square-Enix ever since, after the release of Final Fantasy X on the PlayStation 2. And I think Tetsuya Nomura has created a really great product that not only acts as, one of the best crossovers I've ever seen, but one that actually kind of feels very important. I mean, with most crossover games, like some of the Tales of the World games where you have characters from the Multiple Tales series, it doesn't seem like, those types of games, create a story really well. But in this case, Kingdom Hearts is a very different story in terms of the, plot development of what goes on within the entire franchise. I mean, you have this story about a boy who, or about these kids who want to leave their island, which they feel like is an imprisonment since they are stuck within the world that they are at, and they want to try to explore what is all around and, what they can do. And that pretty much goes for Riku's case, but in terms of Sora's case, he wants to, bring everybody back together so that way they can all go home. Even though he still has, big expectations to, want to visit other worlds, but he just wants to make sure that everybody is safe, because he really cares so much about his friends. So, with him having that aspect to make sure that everybody's okay firsthand and traveling to world second, that's why I believe Sora has been chosen to be a Keyblade wielder and not Riku. It's, if you played Birth by Sleep when, Riku got the power from Terra, and if you take a look at the beginning of this game where Riku wanted to submit to traveling to different worlds, then, taking the responsibilities of a Keyblade wielder, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, in terms of this game, do I think it really has aged well? Well, in terms of the gameplay, I don't think it has aged that well, because I definitely find this to be a little bit too easy and a bit too simplistic with the animations and the overall experience of the of the gameplay itself. But in terms of the story, I definitely think it was a great start to bring an original story out like this. I mean, sure, there maybe have some other things that kind of follow the basic principles of something like this happening. But in terms of a story that has gotten bigger and, partially better throughout the years, it definitely was a great start. So yeah, I definitely think the gameplay is outdated by today's standards, but in terms of the story, I think it still holds up really well. And, it's one of those things where you feel like, that it really ties everything nicely, within the first game. Like, all the loose ends are fully wrapped up, and you never expected that a sequel would come to be. But once the sequel came to be, then you knew for a fact that, Tetsuya Nomura was going to go for something really big. And I didn't really expect it to go that way, but, with the release of Kingdom Hearts 2, I just felt that, that this series could hold a lot more potential in terms of what we would see. And I know there was a lot of, that the game definitely has a lot of plot holes that have not been unfinished. But in Tetsuya Nomura's case, at least he's not trying to, tick off everybody and saying, I'm not going to work on Kingdom Hearts 3 just yet. I want to work on some other games so that way I can, gladly tie up the loose ends before we can start the next saga after the Xehanort saga. So yeah, for those of you, desperately wanting Kingdom Hearts 3, then I definitely think you're kind of missing the point in terms of what the approach with Tetsuya Nomura and what he is doing for the overall franchise. You see, he's not only is he a character designer, a game designer, and a director, but he's also a base story writer. I mean, sure, he may not come up with the best stories, but at least he puts in some emphasis to make sure that, you know, he has a staff that can definitely you know, put out the work that he envisions in terms of the storylines that he initially creates. So that's why I feel that he worked on the worked on all the handheld games, which are the prequels, and as well as Coded, so that way there would be some loose ends that can be tied up and that can connect to Kingdom Hearts 3D and Kingdom Hearts 3, which, you know, with Kingdom Hearts 3D releasing later this year for the West, while it releases in March releases in March in Japan, then it's really good to see, you know, what all the story holds and see how well it keeps going on further, and how the elements from the past will just immediately be broken down. And I'm definitely seeing where Tetsuya Nomura is going to take this. I don't think Kazushige Nojima is going to be, I don't think he's going to be involved with writing the story for Dream Drop Distance, but at least Kingdom Hearts 3, you can bet on it. But yes, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where Kingdom Hearts is going to go in the future, and I definitely think that the franchise has still aged pretty well. And I'm not that kind of person who immediately wants Kingdom Hearts 3, as I pretty much welcome almost every entry. And notice that I say almost, because I do feel that there are some games that kind of missed the mark and that could have been a little bit better. But I will leave it at that. But anyway, will you see me do a Let's Play of Kingdom Hearts 2? Most definitely. Will you see me do a Let's Play of Chain of Memories? Maybe, but that's kind of hard to determine if I can get into the game or not. And will you see me do a Let's Play of Kingdom Hearts 3 whenever that comes out? You definitely can bet on that as well. What about Final Fantasy Versus 13? Oh, definitely. But, we'll just have to wait for those until we learn when they release. But yes, Kingdom Hearts, the Kingdom Hearts series, it's definitely one of the series that kind of wanted me to start doing Let's Plays at first. Of course, I did Birth by Sleep at first as my first Let's Play, and, it's one that, the Kingdom Hearts series, it's definitely one that I think a lot of people can enjoy their experiences with. I mean, sure, it's kind of in the same vein with the popularity of Final Fantasy VII, but at least, I think this game has a bit more substance in terms of gameplay, story, and, just overall appeal. I mean, sure, Final Fantasy VII kind of holds the same, magic as Kingdom Hearts, but there's just something that's a bit more prominent to Kingdom Hearts than Final Fantasy VII. And I definitely see this series going on for a long time, and I can't wait to see what Tetsuya Nomura puts out in the future for this franchise. Okay, and now that I have said that, I think this is possibly a good spot to where we can go ahead and we can close up this episode. So anyway, gamers, next time on Double RPG Let's Play with Kingdom Hearts on the PlayStation 2, we are going to go back to End of the World, the Heartless World, that is, and we are going to get on with the final battle against Anson. Yes, the end of this Let's Play is coming very close. So anyway, gamers, if you have not done so already, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter with the links in the description, and if you like what you saw, then be sure to rate this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave comments below to let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Anyway, gamers, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you on the next episode. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys then.